Hello everybody, it's Ocelot, and today we're going to be going over my favorite overpowered intelligence builds. Now, there's only going to be 4. There are other weapons that I like to use. Some of these weapons on here, of course, you're going to have already heard of, such as the Wing of Astel. Wing of Astel, in my opinion, is the best stance-breaking weapon in the game. The skill Nebula, which is also found on the Bastard Stars, can deal upwards of 50 stance damage if all of the explosions connect. Now this is easier to do on larger enemies such as Placidusax. However, this is New Game Plus 7, so he does have the increased stance. On base New Game, he has about 160 stance. So here he has upwards of 200. Now again, going back to the Wing of Astel, it's a curved sword that has a unique heavy attack. For 0 FP, it launches a short-range projectile. This can be charged, and it will do a double projectile. Right there, I just casted Ranni's Dark Moon, which is pretty much the only other sorcery that I'll be using, as pretty much all you need to do is spam the Nebula weapon art. Now the reason I chose Ranni's Dark Moon is because when it connects, it has a chance to frost enemies. Also, it gives enemies a debuff where they take 10% more magic damage. If they get frost and the magic debuff, you'll be doing an extra 32% damage. Now right here, I was only able to get the magic debuff. Again, this is New Game Plus 7, so Placidusax has increased resistances. Another sorcery that I have in my pocket is Night Comet. It's mainly for taking out trash mobs and doing chip damage. For buffs on all of these builds, we're going to be using Golden Bow Incantation, Howl Shabriri. Also, I have Terra Magica. Unfortunately, a lot of the bosses we'll be fighting are mobile, so I won't be able to use Terra Magica. But if you are able to cast it on less mobile bosses, Terra Magica will give you even more damage. It gives you 30% extra magic damage when you're standing in the glyph that's provided. Now when we're done fighting Placidusax here, we're going to go over the recommended rune level 150 stats and equipment. And I'll also give you the starting class for min-maxing. So you want to start off as an astrologer. You want 50 vigor, 20 mind, 22 endurance, base strength, 17 dexterity, 80 intelligence, 23 faith, which will go up to 33 with the faith tier. Again, Golden Bow, Howl Shabriri, and Terra Magica as buffs. Ranni's Dark Moon and Night Comet as sorceries. We have a plus 10 Wing of Astel, Gordon Order Seal at plus 10, mainly for buffs. However, you do get a 299 incant scaling without the faith tier. Plus 10 Carrion Wriggle Scepter with 373 sorcery scaling. Spellblade set for the extra 2% damage per piece to the weapon art, since it deals magic damage. We have the Magic Scorpion Charm for the extra 12% magic damage. Ritual Sword Talisman for the extra 10% damage when our health is full. We have the Graven Mask Talisman for extra 8% to the sorcery damages. And the Shard of Alexander for the 15% damage boost to the weapon art. In the Physic, we have the Magic tier and the Faith tier. Overall, it's a very fun build and easily customized to your liking. Now for this next one, we're going to be in New Game Plus 6, and it's going to be another known weapon, the Death's Poker. Death's Poker has a unique skill, Ghost Flame Ignition. Now it has technically 3 parts to the Ash of War. You click your Ash of War button to start the attack. If you don't do a follow-up, it'll leave a small ball of Ghost Flame that will eventually explode. However, right there, as you see, there's a trail of Ghost Flame. that's made by doing the weapon art and then clicking light attack. For an explosion, you hit the weapon art button and then the heavy attack. It's going to be a very similar setup that we just saw. So we're going to have pretty much the same talismans. Again, we're using Ranni's Dark Moon to get the debuff on enemies. And again, it's easier on less mobile enemies, or if you look for a better opening. I was mainly trying to showcase the weapon art, so I was trying to use Ghost Flame Ignition as much as possible. Now here, we're going to send Godfrey into phase 2, and I'm going to show you the heavy attack version of the weapon art. Now the nice thing about Ghost Flame Ignition is how fast and easy it procs Frost. Again, once you proc Frost on an enemy, they get a debuff which lasts for 30 seconds, where they take 20% extra damage from all sources, not just magic damage like the debuff from Ranni's Dark Moon. And there's a light attack version of the weapon art, and as you can see, Orlu was sitting in it and still taking damage. For stats and equipment, for min-maxing, you're going to want to start off as the Vagabond. 55 Vigor, 20 Mind, 22 Endurance, 15 Strength, 17 Dexterity, 70 Intelligence, 23 Faith, we get 33 with the Faith tier, plus 10 Death's Poker, plus 10 Carry and Regal Scepter, Golden Order Seal for buffs, Spellblade set for the extra 2% damage per piece to the Ash of War, Ritual Sword Talisman, Shard of Alexander, Carrion Filigree Crest, Magic Scorpion Charm, and in the Physic, the Faith tier and the Magic tier. Now for this next build, we're going to be using a weapon that's not talked about that much, the Glintstone Kris. The Glintstone Kris is another one of my favorite weapons. It has a very powerful, unique weapon art, Glintstone Dart. For only 10 FP, you get a medium range projectile that deals 100% magic damage, so it's boosted again by the Spellblade set, Terra Magica, Magic Scorpion Charm, and it's chargeable, so it can be boosted by the Godfrey icon, which we also have equipped. Now again, Malekith's another one of the mobile bosses, however we do get a charge right here. Even with most of our buffs worn off, we have 1600 damage on that charge attack. Now even if you don't use this weapon as the main part of your build, you can easily add it to almost any sorcery build that you make, as the Astrologer, which is going to be our starting class, has the stats that you need without having to invest any points to be able to wield it. Now, I'm sure it's not talked about a lot because you have to complete Selen's quest line and side with her, so it is a pretty lengthy quest that we have to go through. I think it's worth it, so at least doing one time. Again, this is New Game Plus 7, and we easily take down Malekith. So let's go over the stats and equipment. Again, starting class for min-maxing is going to be the Astrologer. You're going to want 59 Vigor, 18 Mind, 20 Endurance, base Strength and Dexterity, 70 Intelligence, 33 Faith. You want Golden Vow, Howl Shabriri, and Terra Magica as buffs. Again, I have Ranni's Dark Moon and Night Comet as sorceries. We have a plus 10 Glintstone Kris. We have a plus 10 Golden Order Seal, which we're mainly using for buffs. But again, we get a 331 incant scaling. We have a plus 10 Carrion Regal Scepter with 330 sorcery scaling. Spellblade set for the extra damage per piece to the weapon art. That's 2% per piece. We have the Magic Scorpion Charm, Ritual Sword Talisman, Godfrey Icon, Shard of Alexander, and in our Physic, we have the Intelligence tier and the Magic tier. For this next build, it's going to be based on the Ice Spear Ash of War. The weapon I chose to put it on is the Banished Knight's Halberd. There's a few reasons why. The main reason is I like the poking attacks. that you get from the Banished Knight's Halberd. They come out really fast. Another weapon that people like to put it on is the Guardian Sword Spear. Whichever weapon you choose to put it on, the weapon art scales with intelligence, dexterity, and weapon level. So whether you put it on the Banished Knight's Halberd or the Guardian Sword Spear, you're going to be getting the same damage out of the Ash of War. The affinity I'm using is Cold. After testing the different affinities, I saw that using the Cold affinity and splitting your stats equally between dexterity and intelligence, you get the best damage output from the weapon skill. Now you can get better AR going magic damage for your weapon, but again, the weapon art scales off of intelligence, dexterity, and weapon level and does not scale off of AR. The Cold affinity on the Banished Knight's Halberd will get you a B in dexterity and a C in intelligence, so you are getting pretty decent AR with the Banished Knight's Halberd for the in-between chip shots that you see me taking. But for the most part, this build is going to be based on spamming Ice Spear. And if I hadn't said it yet, the stance damage that you get out of Ice Spear is around 25. As you saw earlier, we got a stance break on Radagon. Here, we get a stance break on Elden Beast. Now, unfortunately, we get it right before Elden starts, and he's still able to cast it off. But we're able to survive. We're able to survive Elden stars and the grab. So since we're using Cold Affinity and we aren't spending too much into intelligence, I do have Night Comet again in the pocket. This is mainly for chip damage and for dealing with trash mobs, going to dungeons. You're going to be getting all of your damage out of Ice Spear on this build, and as you see in New Game +6 at rune level 150, you're getting a really good damage output. The range on Ice Spear is about medium range, so if you're too far, as you saw right there, you're going to miss your target. However, you don't need to be right near the enemy, but you do need to be at around medium range. As we finish up Elden Beast here, we'll go over the stats and equipment, as well as the starting class. So you're going to want to start off as the Vagabond. 55 Vigor, 18 Mind, 22 Endurance, base Strength, 45 Dexterity and Intelligence, 23 Faith, with the Faith tier that goes up to 33. Golden Vow, Hal Shabiri, and Terra Magica as buffs, plus 25 Banished Knight's Halberd and Cold Affinity. In a pocket, we have a Cold Dagger with Glintbait Phalanx on it, Golden Order Seal for buffs. We have the Staff of Loss at plus 25 for Terra Magica and Night Comet. We have the Spellblade set, Magic Scorpion Charm, Carrion Filigreed Crest, Shard of Alexander, and the Ritual Sword Talisman. In the Physic, we have the Faith tier and the Magic tier. And that's going to be it for my top intelligence builds. Wing of Astel and Death's Poker are talked about a lot, while I show you this bonus fight of Malenia in New Game +7 with the Glintstone Kris. We'll talk about that and Ice Spear a little bit more. Again, Glintstone Kris is one of those daggers that, if you don't know about it, I think you should really give it a try. If you don't use it as your main weapon, it has such low requirements, or you can use it as a sidearm for any mage build. For the Ice Spear weapon art, I recommend, if you want to get the most damage out of Ice Spear, to go split into Dexterity into Intelligence. Now for RL 150, I believe 45-45 is the best split. If you're going up to RL 200, just keep on pushing each stat. If you're going past 200, just put it all the way up to 80-80. Well, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. We got DLC coming out in a few days, so I'm only going to be doing one more build guide. It's going to be based on one of the weapons or weapon arts that you saw in this video. If you haven't joined the Discord, there's a link also in the description. Hope you're all as excited as I am for the DLC. I know I'll be binging the game once I have access to it. See you guys on the next one. Bye.